and welcome. Today I have another special guest with me who is Amit Jain, co-founder and CEO of Car Group. Welcome, Mr. Jain.
Thank you.
Car is counted among the platforms that have been able to build on, grow in its initial proposition in the face of uncertainties, including restrained consumer spending. How do you see your business impacted in 2023? And also, how was 2022 for you?
So we grew almost 70-80% in 2022, which we had a great phenomenal year, last financial year fiscal. And the coming year again, we are expecting to grow 50-60% on a larger base. So we are pretty excited about the way we are looking at the ecosystem. While we are hearing about recession, I think India is a more buoyant economy than West for sure, and far brilliant at this stage at least. We are looking at expansion in each segment, be it e-auto, be it insurance Dekho, be it our financial services unit Rupee, smaller portion of the total large market. Even if the larger market bit, we still have a lot of headroom to grow as startups, and that's the way we should look at it. I think such times actually bring about opportunity in my view, and if you want to break the norm and not follow the market, I think this is the time.
Good to know. I mean, this is the right time for disruption to happen. Your company registered 81% growth in consolidated revenue from operations, increasing to 1,598 crore in FY22 from 884 crore in 21. The total expense of the group increased by 70%. What does this scoreboard look like now? And also, do you think you will maintain this growth momentum? How do you see the group's expenses pan out in 2023?
We expect a similar growth momentum. Like for last 10 years, we've been growing at an average of 70% CAGR. Every single year we have grown 70%. And this year that just finished in March, we again grew around 80% on a much larger base. And as we enter this financial year, we are again looking forward to a growth of around 50-60%. And when I say, growth, I try to count not the GMV revenue, but the commission revenue. So if you make 5% on the car, right? So we don't look at growth in terms of GMVs entirely. We look at growth in terms of net commission revenues you're able to make. The thing is that I think there's a compounding effect that's happening. And as each vertical grows, the larger distribution has happened. We're able to introduce newer products on that distribution. For example, insurance, the levers are very clear, have more penetration depth across the country, and then introducing new product on this distribution, right? So we're doubling our distribution. We're introducing new insurance products in Insurance Dekho.
Car Dekho seems like a house of brands with the various presence across the different sectors. As you rightly mentioned, higher penetration, deeper penetration. What are your active strategies to integrate and restructure them in terms of, let's say, when a group acquires a lot of brands, it impacts your cost some. How do you plan to consolidate, bring them together? What plans do you have to scale them further?
I think each one is an independent brand, and when we get them in our ecosystem, idea is not to consolidate or shut them down. Rather, each one has a different purpose of existence. Like Car Dekho, and it's for geeks, very detailed flavors are given on the wheels. Versus a Power Drift is awesome cinematic video reviews on YouTube. Very very different style. So I think we want to retain that characters that we acquire of the companies. It's not like we want to kind of merge, consolidate, and see the existing their identity. Rather, build on that. And for a consumer, from a consumer perspective, he has got different platforms for different needs. Is how I look at it, because one platform may not be able to take shape of every single thing the consumer wants it to be, right? So we deliberately keep it separated out. All these finally are in one financial entity as brands, right? So the company basically owns all these brands, and revenue gets consolidated at the parent level. We would want to retain it that way, and as a house of brands and as a house of founders, I think we look forward to have more. We've also launched a early stage, a Girnar Vision Fund, which supports the early stage companies, which are pretty much early, like $1 million or so kind of a investment is done through that vehicle. 100K to $1 million is what we kind of put in early stage companies, For larger assets, of course, we have always been open. We have a very strong balance sheet to kind of look at good assets in insurance tech, in auto tech, and
Mhm.
financial services.
Are some of the few initial thoughts you like evaluate that idea on? What is your strategy to look at any idea of a startup?
I think first is the person, founder itself, because I think that makes a big difference. A founder
Mhm.
value system, is he resilient? Is he hardworking? What kind of spark he has in terms of some skill, which is his passion area, which will
Mhm.
relate to the business in numbers, economics later. But I try to judge the person on what kind of fighter is he? Because in early stages you will face a lot more failures, and people tend to
True.
give up, right? And I think having a founder who is resilient, who is a fighter, will be a key part of my choosing strategy on that. I think and other traits, of course, how good he is that is he hands-on with the business, because in early stages you have to be hands-on. Consumer
Mm.
connect has to be deeper. Do you
Mm.
know about the consumer problems? Is there a white space in which you have created the product? Then comes the idea itself, where is the market large enough in which you're about
True.
to execute that space. You have created a unique product, or it can be a pricing white space. A product existed at this price, and this price you've entered in a white space which did not exist. Then the team of the what kind of a team is the founder carrying along with
Mhm.
to live this dream, because a founder may not be capable of everything, but he must have a complementary team around his skills, right? So I also
True.
look at teams normally on how they execute once. So founder total addressable market should be large. Then you have got a great team, and then how we execute it, which reflects in unit economics. So I usually will ask a lot of unit economics, because I want to see how the business is being executed day to day, and the spark of founder. Let's say if the founder is a great social media, Instagram
Yeah.
influencer, that'll be a
Mm.
very low cat in the
Mhm.
economics. I try to correlate his personal passion and unit economics from that perspective to find out how the spark is panning out here. That's primarily the criteria on which I usually evaluate. Some investment I do to move India forward, because I think this may not be an exitable investment in the sense that I may not make a lot of money, but some investment move India forward, where a lot of people get inspired. I would
Mhm.
love to see millions of women entrepreneurs, right? So if my investment can give hope or inspiration to the millions watching the show, I think that's something I love to do to move the country forward.
This actually shows how strong your your take is on fundamentals of the business. Among the many words used to describe you, one is the Jaipur-hailed unicorn. Was the $1.2 billion valuation in line with your expectations? They say the journey becomes tougher after you become a unicorn. I don't know. I'm not sure. You are a unicorn leader. What is it has been your experience in this? Tell us about your story of Kardeko.
Look, we are small town guys from Jaipur. I personally had my education from IIT Delhi. My brother is my co-founder, which becomes a very unique combination of two brothers. He always has my back, I always have his back. So you must have a trustworthy partner in the journey. So I think building it out of Jaipur has been quite a lot of fun. Especially, I believe, when you build it out of tier two, there's talent crunch that you have to kind of, address when you start in a tier two city. But we were coders ourselves. I was a programmer. I coded for good 15 years. So was my brother. So we basically nurtured our own talent. I think there's great talent available in tier two cities. You need to nurture own them. And the management team today is of the people who actually joined 15 years, back. On the valuation piece, I think we never are chasing any valuation. We're just enjoying this journey. I think let's build great business. Let's build some great offering for our consumers. That's how we look at it. Versus, let's chase a valuation. Is it in line or not? And I don't even think about that. I think about let's enjoy this journey. It's a long journey, and we have just begun. I feel there's still a whole lot left, and I would love to create something that overlasts all of us, right? And an institution which will basically be written down in the history of India in internet companies, right? That's how I look. I would want to be known rather than the valuation. Valuation are very misleading in my view. I think fundamental business needs to be built, which solves some consumer problems while generating profit. And that's how I would look at the problem statement that I am trying to solve for. We literally started from a garage in Jaipur, and it's the same similar story. Although we never came across an idea which led us here to Jaipur. We were actually doing jobs in Bangalore. Both me and Anurag would stay together in the same house, and we shifted to Jaipur because our father basically had cancer, so he'd expired, and we had to take care of our grandparents and mom. We had two options, either to move them to Bangalore or us shifting there. So it started with taking care of family, and there was no IT infrastructure or because of that. You in any case have to make the both ends meet. I think I definitely believe in good karma. We did some good karma, and what happened now is, of course, something God has taken care of in a way, giving back from some other angles. So the idea of Car Dekho actually came a year later after we started the company. We started a software company which would build software for others. We happened to go to Auto Expo in 2008 in Pragati Maidan in Delhi. And then we saw a lot of cars and we tried to search information online but could not find much. And that's what prompted us to, build a site, because there was an information white space gap. There was a gap. So we found a white space in this category without knowing how large it will become. I'll be very candid. We did not have any large, clear vision, but we knew there is, a website needed to find all this information we're seeing here. We took all the brochures from the expo, coded a site in a week, and it was up in a week's time. So that's how it all began. If I take you back the journey lane, then traffic kept on increasing. In by 2010, we were the traffic leaders without spending a dime in marketing, all organically built. So we basically had a very steep trajectory around how to get traffic with right content. So we focus on content rather than marketing dollars, right? We're quite surrounded by many funded players back then. So this has been what we can do or build with this traffic. By 12, 13, it was very clear what we want to build. And that's when we raised the first round back then, which was Series A round of $15 million. So we ran profitably between 2007 to 13 every single year. Then realized, what vision we want to kind of, pursue. And 13 is when we raised a $15 million, and then there's no looking back so far.
The whole auto segment is evolving with the likes of EVs coming into play. What developments attract your attention or impact your focus areas when it comes to EVs particularly?
I think EVs is gonna be the next big thing, especially in two-wheelers. We moved to a much faster traction. We recorded record highest sales on EV in March in two-wheelers. Cars as a category is also growing now. You'll see a lot more manufacturers coming up with EV models. So there's a ecosystem getting built around EVs, with lithium prices from January to now have fallen almost 15-20%. There's softening of lithium prices also. So battery prices are coming down because of that. More mines are going to open up in a couple of years. India has found a very large reserve, second or third largest in the globe, of lithium in Jammu and Kashmir. I think there is, a pause and the positivity around that. I love green energy in any case. This momentum of EV is very strong. Bikes will catch a much faster share in next 3-4 years is how I look at it. I think bikes will be two-wheelers will be penetrated faster in EV, because in two-wheelers you can just take out the battery like a mobile phone and go charge many of the models that come, right?
Tell us more about Car Dekho Financial Services. What is the broad strategy there, and what more can be expected in terms of diversification and expansion of your group, specifically for financial services?
So Rupee is our is a offering that we have at Car Dekho Group, which is about making marketplaces to give loans to people, and we have like a Aero bank, almost 30 banks at the back, which we are integrated into. So for every consumer, we have a product that a bouquet of products from all banks. So you don't have to go to every bank to figure out who will give loan to me. We have a technology which helps us, match the profile of the consumer with the underlying bank. So we actually do almost we are annualized run rate of around 10,000 crores of lending every year. And of course, this book is created for the partner banks we have. So we have a huge set of distribution. We are primarily into used cars. We have just started new car marketplace as well as bike marketplace. It's a marketplace which has got a great amount of a consumer on mobility, right? So that's what we are basically working on.
let's come to the whole startup ecosystem in India. I mean, because one thing which is certain is investors do have cash reserves. Uh, Now my point, what's stopping them? Uh, what actually founders can do better in terms of getting their attention, getting the capital, and growing further? How do you look at it as a whole phenomenon?
I think it's a unique time and capital has cycles, and we've seen multiple cycles in last 20 years, right? The simple point is that there's a bull run where, a lot of startups get easy money and at a much higher valuation because of 2020, 2021, post-COVID, I think you saw bull run. But
Yeah,
what
true.
happened in this period is, a lot of companies get valuated much ahead of time. Now, when a capital cycle changes, and a bear run comes, that's when, the markets resets. All global multiples reset on verticals, right? Every sector has a multiple. Like EdTech will have this multiple, food tech, and these multiples are typically determined by US markets also, global markets also, and you'll see publicly listed companies having certain multiple. So India is also kind of evaluated from that same lens by global investors. So what has happened right now is that people raise lot of money during 21, and valuation say was a little ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the companies who has raised at a little ahead of time valuation is now trying to use the money to grow into the valuation that they raised at. And that's what's happening. So you'll see, a lot of, companies cutting costs, increasing runways, trying to become more healthy in terms of, P&L. Because if they go out now, they'll have to take a down round. And down round is definitely not preferred by any of the companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So practically everybody's trying to grow into the valuation. There's a also think that, companies which are very highly capitalized, they had been offered earlier rather than taking a down round. So I think that's what's the phenomenon right now. There are many companies with a lot of cash who will grow into the valuation. There's some companies will fundamentally not have cash and will have to go the path of executing a down round or something. That's what's happening. There's a lot of capital available. You're right. Capital is waiting to be deployed, but now
Yeah.
more sustainable, profitable company with growth momentum will get funded. So I think it's a different zone in which people are investing. It's not earlier it was just growth at any cost. Now it
Yeah.
is growth with sustainability. That's how I would say the market shift has happened. Actually, younger startups are safer, I would say, rather than the bigger ones. Bigger
Mm-hmm.
ones have raised maybe at a much higher valuation than younger ones. Is how I look at it.
In your sense and in your observation, what are some of the sunshine sectors you see in India at present?
Every sector is going to boom in India, in my view. Take direct to consumer, fooding. As the per capita is increasing, right, from $2,100 to $3,100 over next 3, 4 years, it's not an increase of 2,100 to 3,100. Actually, it's a significantly different increase. You require $1,800 to survive. You've got a disposable income today of $300, and that $300 is about to become $1,200. You're actually seeing a disposable income rise of 4x. And that's why every single sector, when you have a disposable income increase of 4x, every sector is going to thrive, be it auto, be it direct to consumer, be it whatever, right? You pick up anything, insurance sector, fintech sector, every sector has a room of the century of India, is how I say it. So you've got, you're getting into a zone where there is a huge growth potential as you go down the line in these years.
What can be the three most important things a founder or let's say a startup can do to become the best one in today's time? What what are the three top things?
I think the first is, what are you solving? Is there a unique product offering that you're creating? Is there a white space where you're attacking, right? So have a great unique value offering, which solves some fundamentally real problem, right? If that is there, then you have consumers, who are going to use you. Second is, the cost of delivering that experience. Is that sustainable enough? Because you may have, thought of a problem, but if the cost of delivering it is, too high, then you may not eventually survive, or you may have a much lower runway. Uh, for very young stage startup, if the question is that, then I think I would say go very lean. Don't try to have expenses which shorten your runway. So increase your runway by having a much leaner approach to building the business.
So this was Amit Jain who said this is India's decade for growth for startups or entrepreneurs. Be hungry. This is the advice he gave for all the young and even the mature founders, second-time founders, first-time founders. Be hungry at all times. Thank you so much for your time, Amit Jain.